What's going on, everyone? It is Austin, and I thought I'd just make a recap of today's trades and a bit of a kind of, um, supplementary video to the live stream I actually did yesterday, talking about the next big play. And when I talk about the next big play, I'm talking about kind of a swing trade, maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks, so a bigger type of play that might last a little bit longer than just a day trade. But I do want to go over the day trading in today's video. And this should be real quick. I literally just took two trades. So if you guys are in the Discord and you'll see my trading results every single day, and you'd know that kind of this week and the last couple of days I had some big drawdowns on in the red, especially yesterday. And in the video, or in the live stream I did yesterday, I went through those trades as well and talked about how I was like down unrealized like 1600, which is just actually unreal. But I finished the day green because I had such a strong bias on the short side. And then yesterday, obviously, we did end up coming down. Um, and that bias to the short side kind of continued today, but I did kind of looking at the market today and looking at where we were opening up. I mean, it was clear, we already were kind of bouncing off the lows coming into the market. And even though we had this strong trend, usually we have this kind of strong overnight trend, um, and then coming into the open, we've already kind of bounced a little bit. That just kind of opens up the door to a lot of uncertainty, right, in terms of direction for the day. And we really ended kind of flat in terms of like where we opened up on the day. So the day was very choppy overall, but that doesn't mean you can't make money. You just have to look at, relative strength, relative weakness, and try to rely a little bit more on the setups that you're seeing on the stocks themselves. So let me go ahead and show trades here so you guys can see what I did. I traded two names. You can see here just Nvidia and Tesla. And then we'll talk a little bit about the SPY trade, the next big play I've got going on right now. It's not so big. I'm looking for an opportunity to add possibly, but right now and in the stream yesterday, I was talking about just looking to the short side. The premiums on these right now, $440, but it was as high as $540 at one point today. But we did kind of bounce off the lows at one point and just continue to chop around. But I still think that you know, the setup is there, and we'll see if we can get the market to come down. But I guess right now I'll just talk about the day trades in this one and try to show this. So Nvidia was my first trade, and I did end up taking a little bit smaller size. Um, as opposed to yesterday where I had at one point 600 shares short on Nvidia yesterday, which you can see on the 4-hour chart. It did come down and I did end green on it, but I'm telling you, at one point I was down on the stock like 1400 or something on that name at one point unrealized. I had a $700 realized loss on it yesterday and then shorted 600. It went against me more, but I did end up getting that one to fall and ended up flipping all the way to green on that ticker. So that was crazy. And then I went back and I traded it again, but today I was much more patient, right? So I took this trade, you can see 942. So I waited about, I thought I was being patient. That's really just 12 minutes after the opening bell, which is just probably right around average for me. But I decided that the right size for me today would be about 200. You can see where I shorted this. It was really just right there at the high, and it had not really come down at all. It was kind of uptrending. It's like, all right, why, Austin, did you short this? Well, again, I'm looking at the market on one screen and looking at stocks on the other, and just kind of backing up for a second and looking at this. It's very common that when you have a downtrend overnight and kind of this very just kind of weak looking activity here in the pre-market, and then starting to come up here before the bell, and just watching the price action, watching the activity on it, to me, this looks like I was really just waiting to get the right kind of price to be able to short it. And for me, this was kind of the right price. You can see right here, 71, around 72, $72. That wick's coming up to around the high of this 4-hour candle here. It seems like a decent decent spot for it to try to reject. And it rejected, I'll be honest, way harder than I thought. I mean, these candles started to just accelerate to the downside. And I did have this, you know, support line drawn in. That I did not draw that today. That was just sitting there. And, whenever they're just already there and I drew them, these light blue ones I drew more recently, and then these dark blue ones have just been sitting there for who knows how long. When I was trading, I might have put that in way back here, or back here. I don't know. I don't know when I drew that, but you'd be surprised how often those levels still come into play, weeks or months later. And sure enough, it's not exact, and so when I draw when with these old lines, I give them, a grain of salt, and it's not really exact, but sometimes they are, which is kind of crazy, but oftentimes they're just kind of more just guidelines. And so I'm like, all right, you know what? And plus, just how aggressively this was coming down. I mean, look at the size of this candle, right? It's almost $1 a share. So whenever you just get kind of a very steep sell-off like that, there's going to be a pretty significant bounce. So once it got down here, I was really just trying to get out, take profit. And you can see I got my last 50 shares at 167.85. So really nice exit there. And that one just worked so quickly for me. And of course, I wish I had taken larger size, but that was just a really quick, easy trade. Again, I mean, you look at this and you're like, Austin, how the hell did you manage to get such a perfect entry to the short side? Like literally one, two, there was no red candle or green candle in this entire trade. There was not one green candle from start to finish. It just went instantly in my favor. I mean, if you've been watching me for a while, it rarely works out like that. But is it a coincidence that, I nailed this so perfectly? I don't know. Yes and no at the same time. I mean, yesterday it was chopping me all over the place and I was down on it until I finally got the move I was looking for. Sometimes you get it straight away and sometimes, you're not as lucky. And today, I'll just say for sure, like I was not thinking that it was just gonna move the way I wanted it to straight away. I didn't think it'd be that simple. And I don't try to predict the exact action. I just try to get a good price and think about a spot where I can take the position that I want, and just the likelihood that what I want to play out, can happen. And this ended up playing out, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And that trade ended up working perfectly. And I actually got into that trade pretty much at the exact same time. It might have been the same minute. Let's check. So I actually took the short on Tesla 2 minutes earlier. So this was actually the trade I got in first. And I will be perfectly honest, when I took this trade, I thought I was on 200 shares, but I ended up being on only 100. And so you can see I got short 100. And again, I thought it was 200. But once I saw that I was in for 100, I saw it right away, and I was like, you know what? Let's just trade small size today. I yesterday and the day before, I both had big drawdowns, into the red early on in the day and in a big way, and I was lucky enough to fight back to green. I mean, that rarely happens, It's usually I just pack it up and it sucks. But I was fortunate enough twice this week to battle back to green. And it's not luck that I was able to do that, but still, I don't want to risk that again. And so, even though I think, okay, I think this is a decent spot to go short, kind of in front of that 130 level. And so that's what I did, and it did work out. I got half out here, and then it started to curl back up, so I ended up getting another half out here. Much later, it would come way, way down. So, right idea, but again, it's all about timing. It's all about timing. And and so yeah, luckily I had a little bit of good timing on that on the really quick trade, but ultimately I did have to stop out of the other half as it started to come up, so only came away with $71 on it. But that Nvidia trade really carried me, and I was only, short 200 on that one, and I was able to come away with like almost $500 in that trade. I think about if I had shorted 600 like I did yesterday, I would have made, like 1500, right? Like 3x. So, um, it's just unfortunate that I don't know. That's always the big issue with me is I got to take the big size, when I have more confidence, and then not take big size, and I'm trying to, do what I did yesterday. It's just like I got it all mixed up, but I do my best. It's oftentimes quite tough, but anyway, really solid day today, up 560. That's pretty much all I can ask for after kind of the stress of the last 2 days. And I'll pull up to my trader view so you can see what this month is looking like. So this is the 560 today, and then you can see the 155 yesterday didn't come so easy. So you can see right here, I'm not kidding that I was down in a big drawdown, and trust me, it was more like 1600. It doesn't show it here, but I was able to fight back, and it was just that Nvidia that I was down on, down on, down on, kept trying it, and kept taking huge size, and eventually, finally, what I was looking for came through, but yeah, it was a little too late. I mean, I'm glad, still glad I came back, but I imagine if I had been more patient off the open, I could have not lost so much and then been big green rather than trying to just fight back to break even. But again, I got blessed to be able to get back to break even, regardless. So January shaping up pretty good. The only two red days I have are really like break even days. They're not even really, they're just negligible, honestly. And then some pretty solid days in here, but I'm trying to just be consistent and focus on kind of not losing. But man, I've really played with fire the last 2 days. So you can see my equity curve since I kind of returned to equities in October, and for the most part, it's a good, nice kind of line to the upside, and coming up to almost 9,000 in profit since last October, which it's not great, but look, I mean, after a 4 month sabbatical trading futures, sabbatical is probably not the right word, but I was trading futures for like 3 or 4 months with my own money and just losing, losing. So this is good. These are good results, and especially I look at average winning trade, average losing trade. That's really solid. And for my largest loss in a trade to be 450, here we are in January, so it's like, 3 months later, and for the largest loss again to be only down only 450, that's tremendous. That's tremendous because my biggest issue has been like, solid gains and then a big loss, to give it all, but to give a huge chunk of it back. And so that's what I'm trying to avoid. But I almost had that yesterday. I was gonna be down like 1600. That's not good. So I need to do something about that and try to be better. But for the most part, these stats are looking pretty good. And anyway, so yeah, that's how the month's shaping up so far. And those were my trades on the day. Again, that SPY trade, I was monitoring SPY. So here's kind of the ES as it looks on a 15-minute chart. I bought those puts on Tuesday, I think I bought the puts. I believe, yeah, I bought those puts on Tuesday, um, and I think so. Maybe it was Thursday. Wait, sorry, maybe it was Wednesday. I don't even remember because I made those. No, I think I bought them on Tuesday. Anyway, so markets come way down, and so I'm up on those puts, but I still think we have further to fall. So you look at kind of a. Let's just go to this view here, so it looks a little better. And I'll delete this. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, we'll see if we can at least test kind of this area down here on this trend line, and then hopefully break it. I'll definitely give it some time and a chance to do that, and I think we can do it. But I'd like to see a gap down on the SPY again today. You could see how that SPY candle closed. To me, I think it looks good, and so I'm gonna give it some more time and see if I can get even more premium on those puts. But you can see right now I'm up about almost 100%, as we closed the day, up $435 on the trade so far. So those premiums have basically doubled, as of the close today. So we'll check back in at some point going forward, and really solid day across the board for my trading and for the next big play. All right, I will see you guys in the next one. If you guys do enjoy these videos and these recaps, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you are new and you want to learn how to trade equities and more about what I'm doing. I will show you the way. I will show you how to make money. It's it's the toughest, easiest job in the world, and once you get the hang of it, it's the best. It's so much fun to trade and figure out the puzzle every single day, And, when you have results like me, you can watch the market and, trade with confidence. And if you haven't already, check out my video that I put out called Trade with Confidence in 2023. It's also a trading recap, but I think it's showing a couple really, really solid trades that will give you a sense of kind of the way I do things and the way I trade. I'm much, less structured than a lot of people out there, but at the end of the day, I get the job done, and that's all that matters. So I hope you all have a good last trading day of the week tomorrow, Friday. I hope that I do too. Trade smaller size, just, try to get through it. Try to make a little bit of money, make a little bit of bag, and then enjoy your weekend. All right, that's what I'm going to try to do. That's my plan. And I will see you all in the next one. All right, bye bye.